The rain tapped softly on the old windows. A dull, steady rhythm that made the entire house feel alive. Mara stood in the narrow hallway, clutching the photograph of her nephew, Elias. His bright smile stared back at her. A smile that now felt like a distant memory. The air smelled of damp wood and something faintly metallic. Something she had not noticed before. She stepped forward. The floorboards creaked under her weight. A cold draft brushed against her ankles. As if someone rushed past her. She froze. Her breath caught halfway up her throat. The hallway felt darker than it had moments ago. The shadows seemed to stretch. Reaching toward her, Mara lifted her flashlight. The beam wavered. Her hand trembled slightly. She had come to this abandoned house because it was the last place Elias had been seen. Witnesses claimed they heard a cry from inside. Then silence. A silence that swallowed every clue. Mara's voice was barely a whisper. Calling his name. Elias. The sound dissolved into the cold air. The flashlight flickered. For a second, she thought she saw a small figure at the end of the hall. A thin silhouette. Still. Watching. Her pulse hammered in her ears. She blinked hard. The figure was gone. Only darkness remained. A faint sound drifted from the room on her left. It was soft. Almost like breathing. Slow. Unsteady. Mara moved toward it. Each step felt heavier. The air grew colder. She reached the doorway and gently pushed it open. The hinges groaned. Inside the room, dust danced in the thin slice of light from the window. The walls were cracked and peeling. The smell of old paper and mold clung to the air. In the center of the room stood a small wooden chair. Its legs were uneven, as if someone had knocked it over many times. Mara's flashlight slid across the floor. That was when she saw it. A tiny handprint, pressed deep into the dusty surface. Her breath shivered out of her lungs. The print was fresh. She crouched closer. The outline was perfect. Small, delicate, but beside it was something else. A second print. Larger. Not a child's. The sight sent a sharp jolt through her spine. The two prints pointed toward the far corner of the room. The darkest part. Mara lifted her head. Her heart thudded painfully. She felt it before she saw anything. A presence. Heavy. Watching her from the shadows. The air thickened. Her fingers tightened around the flashlight. She leaned forward slightly, trying to see, trying to understand, because something was moving in that corner. Something slow, something dragging against the floor. The dragging stopped suddenly. Silence swallowed the room again. Mara's chest rose and fell with rapid gasps. She could feel every heartbeat hammering against her ribcage. Her eyes strained to penetrate the darkness. Then she saw it, a small shape, crouched low, as if hiding from the world. The shape shivered, almost imperceptibly. Mara's voice cracked as she whispered, "Elias." No answer came, only the sound of her own breathing echoed against the walls. She stepped closer, each movement careful, measured. The wooden floor groaned beneath her weight, betraying her presence. The small shape flinched, then it rose, slowly, a child's figure, but something was wrong. The eyes staring back at her were not entirely human. They glowed faintly in the dim light, reflecting an eerie green hue. Mara froze, terror rooting her to the spot. The child tilted its head. A hollow smile stretched across its face. She wanted to run. Her legs refused to move. The flashlight wavered in her grip. Falling to her knees, she tried to steady it. The beam caught on something behind the figure. A doorway, leading to a staircase that spiraled downward. Into deeper darkness. A cold wind blew from below, carrying whispers that clawed at her mind. Mara's skin prickled. Her instincts screamed at her to leave. But something stronger, something maternal, protective, drove her forward. Elias was down there, somewhere. She took a trembling step toward the staircase. The figure did not move. It watched silently. The whispers grew louder, indistinct, urgent. They seemed to echo from the walls themselves. Mara gripped the railing, its wood slick with moisture. Each step down felt like wading into another world. The air grew heavier. Every breath burned her lungs. She reached the bottom. The whispers stopped. Dead silence replaced them. The room was vast. An old nursery, frozen in decay. Broken toys lay scattered across the floor. A rocking horse leaned precariously against the wall. Cobwebs draped the corners like tattered curtains. And then she saw it. A circle drawn in chalk. In the center, a small doll. Its face was cracked, but its eyes seemed to gleam, alive. Mara knelt beside it. Her fingers brushed the doll's head. The instant she touched it, a shiver shot up her arm. A voice, small and terrified, whispered her name. Mara spun around. Elias stood there, or what appeared to be Elias. His clothes were torn, his hair damp, sticking to his forehead. But his eyes, those familiar, bright eyes, were glazed over, distant. He did not move, he did not speak. Then the doll's eyes blinked. Slowly, unnaturally, a chill wrapped around Mara's spine. The whispers returned. They were louder now, angrier, filling every corner of the room. The temperature dropped. Her breath hung in the air in white clouds. Mara reached for Elias. The moment her hand touched his arm, the doll rolled toward him. The chalk circle pulsed with light. Bright, blinding. Elias screamed, a sound that tore through her very soul. And then he was gone. The room was empty. The doll lay alone, staring up at her. Its cracked face smiled. Mara sank to her knees. The whispers faded, leaving only the echo of her own ragged breathing. Tears ran down her cheeks. A soft giggle drifted from above. From the staircase, she turned. The hallway outside the nursery was empty. But the air carried a presence. Heavy, watching. Mara felt it wrap around her, pressing her to the floor. She understood then. Elias had not vanished. He had been taken. By something older than the house itself. By something patient. Something that had been waiting for him. For her. For the living to stumble into its world. The doll blinked again. And in that blink, the room went cold. Mara knew she could not leave. Not yet. Because if she walked away now, Elias would vanish forever. And she would never forgive herself. Her fingers clenched the flashlight. Her jaw set with determination. Whatever lurked in the shadows, she would face it. She would bring him back. Even if it meant stepping further into the darkness than anyone ever had before. And the presence laughed. Low. Malicious. It promised her that the deeper she went, the less she might return. Mara swallowed her fear. The staircase loomed before her. And she stepped forward, into the unknown. The shadows closed around her. The whispers rose into a chant. The house pulsed with life, or perhaps with something older. Something hungry. And Mara felt herself pulled down, down, down. Towards the vanished child. Mara stumbled into a cavernous chamber at the bottom of the staircase. The air was thick and suffocating, yet strangely still. Shadows twisted along the walls, forming shapes she could not recognize. And there, in the center, was Elias. Or the boy she remembered. He sat on the floor, small and pale, his eyes wide with confusion. Around him, dozens of dolls sat in a circle, their faces cracked but their eyes alive. The whispers swirled around Mara, angry and insistent. She knelt beside him, her hands trembling. Elias looked up, and for a fleeting moment, recognition sparked in his eyes. Mara whispered his name softly, gently, promising him safety. The shadows wreathed, resisting her, but she ignored the fear that threatened to paralyze her. She took his hand. Cold, fragile, real. The chamber shook, a deep rumble vibrating through the walls. The doll's eyes glowed brighter. One by one, the shadows recoiled. The whispers turned into shrieks. Mara felt herself pulled in every direction, but she held tight to Elias. Step by step, she guided him toward the staircase. Every step felt heavier, as if the house itself tried to claim them. Finally, they reached the top. The light of the hallway spilled over them, warm and reassuring. The whispers faded. The shadows lingered for only a moment before vanishing completely. Mara collapsed to her knees, holding Elias close. He sobbed quietly, burying his face in her shoulder. The house was silent now, empty and still. No trace of the dark presence remained, only the echoes of what had been. Outside, the rain had stopped. A pale sunrise painted the sky with soft pinks and golds. Mara carried Elias into the morning light. He clung to her tightly, silent but safe. The vanished child was found. The house behind them loomed quietly, mysterious and unyielding, but its hold had been broken, for now. Mara knew she would never forget what had happened, nor the feeling of something watching from the shadows. But she also knew this: courage, love, and determination could outshine even the darkest fear. And in the warmth of the new day, she held him close, and the world felt alive again.